Hi there students, I am Tanmay De and welcome to Sanchoita. In this video, you can learn to take dictation of the editorial passage. It is an editorial passage from the Hindu. Speed will be 100 words per minute, total words 1062. As you know, readback and transcription are the two main key points to improve speed and accuracy in stenography. Also, if you know the meanings and outlines of some important or tough or difficult words, it will boost your speed and accuracy. For that, after the dictation, you will get meanings, outlines of some important words and the full passage. If you like my work, like or unlike, share, comments and subscribe to motivate. Now be ready. I will start the dictation after the countdown of 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start. The standoff between farmers and the government continues even after a few rounds of discussion and more than a fortnight of protest at the Delhi border by the farmers. The latest proposal by the government indicates its willingness to amend the three agriculture related acts passed in September on the contentious issues of registration of private traders, levy of taxes on trade outside the agricultural produce market committee within bracket APMC bracket close mandis. The government has proposed amendments which will empower the states to frame rules on these issues. Similar assurances have been given to access to the judiciary for dispute resolution and continuation of the minimum support price within bracket MSP bracket close mechanism. However, farmer unions have rejected the proposal and continue to demand complete withdrawal of the three acts along with making MSP a guarantee. It is likely that the issue may ultimately get resolved and an amicable solution is found to resolve the impasse. However, this will only be a temporary reprieve from the vexatious issue of declining farmer income and the nature of state support to agriculture. The last 4 years have seen a series of large protests in most of the states. While a group of farmers from Tamil Nadu camped in Delhi for over 100 days, Maharashtra was witness to the within single quote Kisan Long March decode of farmers on more than one occasion. Similar protests have erupted in Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Gujarat, Karnataka and Chhattisgarh. At least 5 farmers were killed in police firing in Mandsaur in Madhya Pradesh 3 years ago. Clearly, farmers' unrest is not new and has been building up for quite some time. The latest round of protests may have seen spirited protests from farmers from Punjab and Haryana but has found the support of farmers from the other states as well. While they may appear to be fragmented and localized, the issues concerning these instances of unrest have a common thread of declining agricultural incomes, stagnant wages, and withdrawal of state support to agriculture. The immediate trigger for the current protest is the enactment of the three acts on agricultural marketing, contract farming, and stocking of agricultural produce, which deregulates the existing acts on these. The farmers see them as an attempt to dilute the nature of these safeguards provided to them by providing unfair advantage to the private sector. Read corporate sector vis-a-vis APMC mandis. The current crisis is entirely a creation of the government at a time when the country was struggling with novel coronavirus caused lockdowns, supply disruptions, job losses, and falling incomes in an economy which was already slowing down even before the pandemic. While the reforms imbibed in the three acts are unlikely to help resolve the structural issues facing Indian agriculture, even their withdrawal is unlikely to change the ground reality which has existed even before the acts were passed. It is precisely because of this that withdrawal of the three acts by the government will only after a temporary truce. Such a step is unlikely to contain farmers' anger unrest, which is likely to increase with a slowing economy and falling demand for agriculture commodities. The real issue is the lack of remunerative prices for a majority of agricultural commodities, a sharp increase in price variability in recent years, and an unpredictable and arbitrary government policy regime, none of which is likely to change in the near future. It is these which have led to a recurrence of distress in the agricultural sector with regular farmers' protests which have only grown in frequency in recent years. Part of the problem in the changing nature of agriculture, which has seen increased dependence on markets, increasing mechanization, along with increasing monetization of the agrarian economy. The increased dependence on markets has contributed to increasing variability in output prices, with limited intervention by the government in protecting farmers' income and stabilizing prices through MSP led procurement operations. The variability has increased in frequency as well as the spread of it, other than rice and wheat, and to some sporadic instances of pulses. Most crops suffer from inadequate intervention from MSP operations. However, even these procurement operations are unable to stabilize prices with falling demand and a slowing economy. A perfect example of this is wheat, which has seen a steady decline in year on year inflation based on wholesale price index within bracket WPI bracket close since July, and is negative for the last 3 months of August, September, and October, despite record procurement by the government. Not only has the procurement operation failed to arrest the decline in prices, the uneven nature of procurement has meant that in many states of eastern India, wheat is sold at 20.4% lower prices compared to MSP. It is the same in the case of paddy, where most states have seen market prices significantly lower than the MSP. The situation is far more worrying for crops such as maize, which sold at 40.6% lower than the MSP in most states. Unfortunately, none of this is new. In the last 5 years, 3 years have witnessed negative inflation for cereals, while the withdrawal of the acts is unlikely to ensure price stability. Even the demand of making MSP a guarantee for private trade is meaningless if the government is unable to ensure procurement for a majority of the 23 crops for which it announces MSP. Even the crops such as wheat and paddy for which there is procurement, the regional concentration makes it irrelevant for most of the eastern and southern states, while output prices continue to show high variation with frequent spells of low prices. Increasing mechanization and monetization have led to an increase in cash requirement. Most of these are met by non-institutional sources, including middlemen, which has contributed to the rising cost of cultivation. And increase in loan waivers is unlikely to subside with rising cost of inputs. Some of these trends have accentuated after 2010-11 when the nutrient based subsidy within bracket NBS bracket close for fertilizers regime led to an increase in fertilizer prices, but the withdrawal of diesel subsidy and rising in electricity prices also contributed to making agriculture unviable. With agricultural investment declining in the first 4 years of this government, the result was rising input costs and falling output prices, not to mention the shocks such as demonetization and the lockdown imposed after the pandemic broke out, which only increased the uncertainty and vulnerability in the agricultural sector both on input and output prices. Stop writing. Now you should try to read your script and then do transcription. Now I am showing you some important words outlines. This is part 1. This is part 2. Now I am showing you some important words meaning. This is part 1. This is part 2. And this is the final part. Now I am showing you the full passage. This is part 1. This is part 2. This is part 3. This is part 4. And this is the final part. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you find my video helpful to you. Take care.